What is up, everybody? We're here for, so I don't know, you probably haven't seen any videos about this topic. It is the conference championships in the NFL, a slight thing that a few people might be interested in. Probably haven't seen any videos around the internet talking about it, but we have 4 teams left here in the NFL. And I don't know, there's a certain team missing from the Final Four, a certain team that would have cost me $1,000. I don't want to say I'm $1,000 richer, but I'm certainly not $1,000 poorer. And what's more important to me, there will not be a YouTube thumbnail of me wearing some donkey costume. So maybe you guys can wish for that to happen another time, because there's a thing or two I know about that sign that hangs up above. You know, one time, true story, I got off at the wrong stop on the subway. There was this hot girl there, and this is back at a time where if you went up to somebody, you weren't considered a crazed lunatic. I got off at the wrong stop just to have a chance to talk to her while we were walking up the stairs. Well, long story short, the scam worked. In that little trip, I was able to talk to her, and then, I made up a lie as to where I was going. We ended up hanging out for a couple weeks. Okay, it didn't end up, but you know what? The scam worked. I know scams. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's a long roundabout way to tell you I know a scam or two. I've pulled a scam or two. And I knew those Lions were a scam. I told you when they lost to, or they beat the Vikings. Did you see the first half? Did you see the potential turnovers? I knew it was going to happen, but even I thought that the Commanders were a beatable team. And we're on to the Final Four, and there's a certain matchup here that everybody seems to have the same opinion on, and we heard kind of that opinion shared from Dave last week, and that's with the Chiefs and Bills. Dave, how are you doing? Welcome back. 2 final episodes here. What'd you think about the divisional round?
Shout out to you, man. I mean, talk about sweat-free. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you're spot on with the Lions. I don't even think you assumed, though, that it was going to be against Washington in a blowout
No.
fashion.
No, I thought it was going to be your Eagles controlling the ball on the ground.
But you were there. I mean, look, you were early, but you were there. And it's funny. I was talking to someone about this the other day. A mutual friend, Ben Rass. I was talking to him on one of our DFS shows that, like, you could. Not that you saw it coming, right? Because I thought that the Lions, my dumbass went public and teased that game, teased that spot. And that was the one that lost, too. Not the Chiefs, not the Bills. So we'll take the L there. But, you could see some signs, like potential catastrophe, in the sense that, remember, Goff threw 5 interceptions against Houston on that primetime game. They still got the win. They were healthier at the time. I didn't think it would happen last week. I thought the Lions would. I bet the Lions alive at plus 3.5 at halftime. Like, I thought at the very least, this team comes back, and makes a game of it. And they drove down the field. If you remember, to start the third quarter, they drive down the field on their first possession and score. And I go, okay, here we go. I saw the live line switch to Lions minus 1.5. And then Washington came right back and scored again. So, it was a fun week of games. People were hating on the snow game. I'm not just saying it's because I'm an Eagles fan and they won. I love bad weather games. Kurt Warner wants everything in a dome. I fully disagree. I love the elements. I love the crazy wind games. I love when it forces you to completely divert everything from what you've done. I can understand why players wouldn't like that, but to me, it's an element of the game that we don't get in basketball, that you don't get in hockey, that you rarely get in baseball, and I'd be sad to see it go.
No, it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, don't like the Bills have a new stadium coming and it's going to be outdoors?
Yeah. I've noticed the sentiment shifting on that, and I just disagree. One of the best games this year was the Jameis Winston Russell Wilson game, like that 100%. Crazy snow game. I'm like I said, I'm an Eagles fan, but the LaShawn McCoy game against Matthew Stafford.
Oh yeah.
Years ago. I remember my dad got caught on I-95 because it was, if you remember, there was like 8 inches of snow that wasn't even expected. So I just feel like there's some of the most memorable games to me. Remember Patriots Bills a few years ago where they would attempt kicks in warm-ups and the ball was literally just going behind them. That was the one where Josh Allen and company lost because Mac Jones attempted, I think, 3 passes.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a primetime game. Yeah.
And they won. So say it's bad football, I don't care. But tell me some of the most memorable games aren't in total
God.
dog
I
shit
mean,
weather.
you get every rule, everything benefits the offense. Mahomes doing the fake out of bat, everything gets these points on the board. God forbid we have one final thing, weather, that can nullify some of that offense. And yes, specifically in snow games, if you remove that completely, that's part of watching the playoffs. Like, I'll always think of turning on a playoff game, walking by the TV when I was young and seeing like the Steelers playing in some sort of snowy environment
Yeah.
come January in the playoffs. No, I wouldn't be for removing that. You have so much offense, so much unnecessary, ridiculous scoring, so many flags. At least keep one sort of element that helps the defense and is kind of, outside the fantasy football
But
realm
it kind
and
of
aspect.
doesn't help the defense at times where, like, if a receiver knows what route that he's running, Darius Slay was talking about this after the game, and the corner doesn't know what route the receiver is running. Like, that's tough too, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention, are we ignoring that there were still 50 points in that game? it
That is true.
went over the total. So, yeah, I don't know. I had buddies at that game. They said it was the greatest thing ever. It's an experience, man. But I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with
Definitely.
you.
So I want to talk about who would have thought about it. The AFC Championship game. Let's kind of make this the meat and potatoes of this episode, because what you said last week, I've seen it echoed everywhere. In a interesting state of affairs, I don't watch all the internet video. I don't watch much sports talk TV. I haven't seen a single person talk about the Chiefs winning this game. It's pretty insane. Like, what you said last week was, if they beat the Ravens, I got them winning the Super Bowl. I don't think it works like that. What worries me the most, I haven't seen a single person, not a single person, take the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're
Like,
looking at the wrong spots.
Well, I mean, just even on social media, I see Cal Hurd take the Bills to win. I seen Portnoy. Portnoy put a big public bet. Just as you're scrolling on social media, when you see something, I don't watch the shows, but like when you see something like that, the picks that are given, and like, I think, I don't know how much Portnoy bet. Like, usually bets like 150,000, 200,000, and he's got the Bills winning the Super Bowl. It just seems like everyone is, the Bills, this is going to be their year, and I get it. It looks like Josh Allen is. I was saying during that last game, it looks like he doesn't even like this. It looked like it wasn't a big game to him. It was just like Terminator focused, and he didn't even have a big game whatsoever. And it just looks like he's getting there no matter what. He went down 7-0, so he orchestrated an immediate drive to make it 7-7. Whatever is needed from him, it looks like he's ready to do. But man, just thinking that the Chiefs are going to lose a big game, are you still sticking with the Bills here?
Well, let me just be clear about something. Like, if you think what I'm saying is that I don't think the Bills can win this game, that's certainly not what I'm saying. Obviously, right? Like, certainly not. It's the Buffalo Bills, or I'm sorry, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, they have defied the odds at every single turn, even when pass catchers and skill players have been much less depth than they have this year. I'm not saying that at all. It's one of those feelings where you'd think. Also, another thing to point out here, I don't feel confident there's like a definitive edge in a Bills Chiefs game with a 2-point spread. Like, if this was one of the many games that we had available to us, I'm not really sure I'd be paying much attention to this. Assuming the stakes were as high as they are, you would think eventually Josh Allen breaks through. Matter of fact, it was you last week who I thought made a very salient point. Wasn't it you saying that, like, even in the games that Josh Allen lost to the Chiefs in the postseason, it's not like he lost them. Like, he actually had the position to win.
He won. I cannot. The game he left the field with like 12 seconds left, he won. That's a win. The quarterback freeze time and have a poll in the whole country right then. Did Josh Allen win that game? Yes. Because it's not about, your defense absolutely ruined it with 10 seconds left. That's an anomaly. The question is, can you go into Arrowhead?
I know.
And can you come out with it? Can you go shot for shot? every year, last year, shot for shot, he's the only team scoring on them consistently. Beats them during the regular season. He's the only team who really did it. In Arrowhead, touchdown. And he's the one, what I've noticed, what I think is a big X factor here, he's the one progressively looking better and getting better.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he's worse or significantly worse, but there's not a chance in hell this is the Patrick Mahomes from the AFC Championship, which was already, 3 seasons ago? The one that was in Kansas City? Couple things. Number one, he can still run. I don't know if it's that dad bod a little. He's kind of a shuffler now. He used to be able to burst for like 20 yards down the field, 25 yards. He really is about just sneaking to the first down marker these days.
When he needs to go, he can pick up 15, 20 at a time if he needs to.
All I'm saying is if you do a split screen of him from 4 years ago and this year, it's not the same runner. But meanwhile, Josh Allen is 100% the same runner. You get way fewer turnovers from Josh Allen, and you get way fewer quick strikes from Patrick Mahomes. And while we all thought last week was going to be, here it comes, just like last year when they started just piling points on Miami, and then they put up enough points against the Ravens, and they put up a ton of points against Buffalo. We didn't get that last week. We still got the choppy Mahomes offense. So is this like a superhero in a movie that you're wondering, is Superman still alive? Like, is it just not going to happen? Are they going to finally have a week where they can put up a ton of points? Because it's really started. There's only 2 weeks left. There's only 2 weeks left max. And we haven't seen that Chiefs offense operate efficiently.
We have that's why I haven't bet this game. We haven't needed to see that.
When has that stopped him from having a huge playoff game?
What's that?
But when has that really stopped him from having a huge playoff game? He didn't need to against Miami, and he threw up, 40 points on him last year in the playoffs?
We're on the same. What I'm saying is we haven't seen them go nuclear this season, but they haven't really needed to. The defense has been so dominant, right? Like last week, that game was never really like. Were you ever after the first half of that game? I'm going this. They're winning this game, and they still only put up 23 points. Like if you look at their schedule this season, they scored 30 points twice. Once was 30 against Carolina in a 30-27 game, right? Which came down to the final drive, and the other one was 30-24 against the Bucks, but that went into overtime, 24-24. So they haven't done it yet, but there's zero part of me that thinks, well, if this game shoots out, Patrick Mahomes can't hang. That's just
no. I don't think so. I don't think that either. But it seems less likely for him to be able to just score touchdown, score touchdown, score touchdown, because you're starting to get into the 3-year territory since he's been that guy. Like it's starting to be a really long time. Any games? Have there been any games where he hits 2 passes for more than 35 yards? It seems like, I'll never forget, man. Do you remember when the Jaguars went to the AFC Championship, I believe, and they had that vaunted defense that almost beat the Patriots? They were up in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because I remember I was in California for that. I was in LA. That was Eagles beat the Vikings on the same day. They crushed them with Case Keenum, I think it was. Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl that year against the Patriots. So
exactly. So the next year, or maybe this was not the very next year, maybe this was the year after, where Jacksonville was built on that Jalen Ramsey defense. This is the prime of Patrick Mahomes' offensive ceiling. He goes into Jacksonville, has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half.
Yep.
He's just not capable of that anymore. I mean, like something like that, 300 yards, 3 times. It's like it almost looks like he doesn't even trust his ability as much. He does not seem as loose to let it rip down the field. And he's out of sync with some of those receivers so frequently. And now remember, I have the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. And I just think it's weird that everyone's picking the Bills. But I really am starting to question, although the Bills' defense does not look good whatsoever to me.
Mark Andrews, but poor Mark Andrews, man, with the fumble and then the drop 2-point conversion. we could just as easily be talking about a Chiefs Ravens game this week for sure.
God, this is so tough. This is so tough.
You know what's fun about it though? Because I think we're pretty much on the same page. Like you lose Rashee Rice, which is huge because that guy's amazing after the catch, but
Yeah.
you haven't seen that same Patrick Mahomes really since Tyreek Hill, and when Travis Kelce was in his prime. But he sure looked primed last week. You brought in Hollywood Brown for a very specific reason. This guy has now only played 3 games on the year, 2 to close out the season, and then he sat in Week 18 when they sat their starters against Denver, and then played last week. He had 0 receptions in that game, but he was targeted deep downfield. I actually had a reverse correlation bet that I figured would be fun, right? You know, sometimes you got to have some fun.
I know where you're going with this.
I went 30 plus 30. FanDuel actually allows you to parlay all 3 of these. 30 plus yard reception, anytime touchdown, under 3.5 receptions was 60-1. So plus 6,000. I think the implied odds are like 1.5% or whatever it was. And I was like, I'll take the shot on. Now, hey, I nailed the under 3.5 receptions because he had 0, but he had he was targeted downfield. We thought he caught it like at the 5. That was a 30 plus yard bomb. That's an interesting play. I went back to the well this week on that. I think it was like plus 4,900, under 3.5 receptions, 30 plus yard reception and a touchdown. Because if this game does happen to shoot out or the Bills start putting points on the board, you can't have that same surgical, like methodical type offense that the Patriots or the Chiefs have had, unless of course you're chewing up clock and keeping the ball out of their hands. They don't really have much of a run game. I'm not convinced that Isaiah Pacheco is fully healthy right now. And Kareem Hunt, sure, he's fine, but he's more of a plodding back. Like he came off the couch this year. So I do think there are some interesting angles where like all of it could just fully bust like it did for me that last week. The same thing could happen. Xavier Worthy was the only wide receiver with a reception in that game. That's crazy for the Chiefs. It could fully bust. Or you start to see them open it up more and you go, that's why they brought Hollywood Brown on. We just haven't seen any of him and they haven't needed to use him yet. There's a lot of players out there that have this style of play. Like Jamison Williams is another one where I hit one of those earlier this year where it was like under 4.5 receptions and 100 plus yards receiving, where it's not actually that crazy of it. Like you're not just, you know what I mean? It's not that insane when you look at the explosiveness of these guys. You wouldn't want to do that with like an AJ Brown or with a Puka Nacua or something like that. But I think there's certain guys where if you're actually getting, solid enough odds on it, it's an interesting play. But yeah.
So last week, because of the early turnovers from Lamar, and then the Bills able to get to like a 10-point lead at halftime, I feel like that dictated a lot of what they did, and I feel like they were okay, kind of giving the ball to Cook a lot, giving some carries to Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, and they kind of really, I don't know, they took a very conservative approach. I have a hard time believing, especially when we got a little glimpse into their offensive psyche when they played the Chiefs, a critical 4th down, no field goal, we're going for the touchdown, 4th and 2, Josh Allen takes it for the touchdown. I think Josh Allen is going out of this game with no regrets, and I think there is absolutely no limit on the amount of QB sneaks, runs, scrambles. I think he's going to have more carries than James Cook potentially by the end of this game. So we're seeing 8.5, 9.5. I think there's no limit to what Allen might end up doing in this game. Just something to think about. What do we got with those rushing yards? What are they, 40, 45?
Last I looked, it was like 47.5. Because I was thinking this could be a great spot. Well, Fanatics is whatever. Cause look, like 49.5 on FanDuel, 48, 47.
It's big.
That's a tough number, man. It is. Like we saw him in the divisional round last year against Kansas City, 72 rushing yards. I'm not saying he can't do it. We definitely know that he can. But
wait, Dave, you have FanDuel open there?
Yeah, go for it.
I know they have first quarter bets. First quarter rushing yards, sometimes they'll have that at like 4.5 or 5.5. I'll take something like that.
Here, hold on. I got you. Josh Allen, first quarter alt rushing yards. There you go, Andy. Ready?
Yeah.
You want the alts or I'll give you I'll give you the actual one first. 9.5.
Okay.
You know what's tough about that though? Is that if Kansas City has one of those long, ugly, sustained drives in one of the, that's what bothers me. I'd so much rather it be against like one of these explosive offenses where they don't just move the ball slowly
Yeah.
downfield,
I see what you're
right?
saying. Yeah.
Like
Yep.
that always drives me nuts. It's like, yeah, okay, he could have, but they had the ball for 3 minutes in the first quarter.
Yeah, that
So
that
like 20,
definitely has a chance to happen.
20 plus in the first quarter is plus 270, 15 plus is plus 172, 10 plus yards, yeah, minus 108. By the way, if you guys ever are looking at some of that stuff, FanDuel and Caesars do it a lot. You know this, where they'll post bad odds on the alt lines, or where it's the same number. So if like you have a
Yeah.
player who is set at receiving yards is 59 and a half, but the alt 60, like even money, but the 59 and a half is minus 125.
Yeah.
Weird
Yeah.
thing.
They're hoping. You know what? It's like one of those email phishing. You want a Russian bride? Yeah, of course me and you laugh at it. But you know what? You send it to 100,000 people. 2 people click yes and enter that credit card information. That's a huge win for them. They're hoping that a few people click that minus 117 Russian bride price. Make sure that that's not you when you're putting in these bets. So ultimately, who are you going to go with here for this game? I mean,
All right.
look, we're not going to hold your feet to the flame. I
No,
mean,
no,
just
no. Well, I'm not. Full disclosure, I haven't bet this game. I haven't bet the side on this game. I did bet over on receiving yards for Xavier Worthy, though. Uh, I think it's just really difficult to not utilize a guy like that right now. And he's quite literally the only full time player in the offense not named Travis Kelce. You know, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Watson, even Hollywood Brown, all of these guys, like they're not being used full time. Whereas you've got Worthy probably plays 90% of snaps, runs around on most dropbacks. I got it at 45 and a half, but they're at 49 and a half. I'm always willing to look at the rushing plus receiving for a guy like Xavier Worthy.
yeah, yep.
For all we know, it's at like 52 and a half, 53 and a half. If that's the case, I'd rather just give myself that out. But I'll stay with it. I'll go Bills. And Andy, when I said that you're looking in the wrong spots, you're right in that like most people. And by the way, if Portnoy's on it, no shade to Portnoy, but if he's on it, that scares me even more.
What do you, I mean, just he's no different than coming out that front door waving at you. He's no different than a Dan, but unfortunately, he's also a Dave, right? So
we'll see. But give me Bills. What I meant though was that I really thought I should have known, because all of the people that complain that the league is rigged for Mahomes, this boggles my mind, and I'm sure your viewers have noticed this as well. So many of them will be like, Mahomes gets all the calls, right? And to be fair, you can't be baiting guys into that. You made some good points on that last week. Some of those runs and everything, and God, some of those roughing the passer calls are egregious. But you have people that the game's rigged. How could it not be rigged? He's got the refs in his pocket and all of this stuff. But those somehow are the same people that will go on to bet the Bills this week. And then when the Chiefs win, they'll be like, I knew it was rigged. See, I told you. It's like, well, if you knew it was rigged, you have to bet the Chiefs, But you see that all the time. It's like, why are you on the other side then?
look, people are gluttons for punishment. They're these S&M bondage people. They want people whipping them in the middle of the night. They need to keep betting the team that they know is going to inflict pain upon them. That's just subconsciously what they're doing.
You think they're masochists?
They're a whole bunch of things, dude.
Really? Like, you think they enjoy?
I don't know, because I think being angry and then complaining and yelling feels better than winning than whatever $10 bet that they put in.
That's actually not a terrible point.
There's a certain element, you like having something to blame rather than having the foresight to do the opposite of what you think. You got to go George Costanza sometimes. As far as where I kind of lean in this game, I'm just not going to change from what I've said from the beginning of the year. Show me two rivals, show me two division teams, show me a big game. It's under 3 points. So I'm going to have to concoct a way to get this to plus 3.5 for the Bills.
Bills plus 3.5. I don't hate it. I'm surprised you're going there. Instead of just, I mean, if you like the Chiefs, you don't want to just.
It's not that. It's the reason I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl was the path. I said they have one really difficult game. I can't guarantee they're going to win this difficult game. Absolutely. It was the scam route. Now, in this game, can they win? Yes. If they win, I think it's going to be by under 3. But there is a chance that this
Chiefs -2 then.
No, because there's a chance they can lose this game. Like I share that sentiment where it looks like Allen feels like the Terminator this year. But just in case he's not, I want to be able to at least mitigate that in the best way I could think. Like I have that same inclination as you, where it's like, man, it really feels like. But I also have a policy of not betting against the team who never loses in these spots. Other than that random witch doctor
Bills
game.
Can still lose. Yeah, for you, Bills can still lose, but lose by a field goal. Makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah.
Whether it's Bills plus 3.5, Josh Allen 35 rushing, I'll find the right concoction of it. That's kind of what I'm going to go with for the game. Or, lay some juice plus 3.5. So what?
Yeah.
You really want to be angry if you lose? Lay some juice. Take that plus 3.5. Not the smartest thing in the world, but that's just my natural inclination, my natural feeling, the same feeling that told you Lamar wasn't going on to win a Super Bowl, despite all the commenters, and that Detroit wasn't going on to win a Super Bowl, despite the commenters. Because I had a different team making
out there too, Andy, by the way. For anyone that likes the Chiefs, grab the 1.5.
And that takes me to your squad over there in Philly. You have this Jalen Hurts situation up in the air, but man, I just refuse to believe the Washington Commanders are representing the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Crazy, yeah.
Maybe
and I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying that would be like. I wonder what the Super Bowl odds were on the Commanders. I don't know if the league does not want Chiefs.
Oh, no, you're them. You're them now. You caught yourself, but you're like, you know what? They know what I was starting to say. Let me just finish the point.
Well, I'm not saying it won't happen. I also don't think it's like it's pretty evident that, like, yes, while there is parity in the NFL, certain matchups would just bring a lot more eyeballs and a lot more money than other matchups. I just like from a capitalistic standpoint, right? If you're up there and you're the one seeing everything, would you rather Chiefs Eagles rematch or like Bills in the Super Bowl against the Eagles? Or would you rather, Chiefs Commanders or Bills Commanders? I'm not saying they can't get there. Of course not. But I think it's actually common sense to just be like, that's not the matchup that you would want.
Well, I did see a meme that was like a split screen of some like the left fork in the road being like a yellow brick road to like a paradise city with the Bills and Commanders over it, and then one going to like hell, which would be the Chiefs Eagles, I guess, kind of illustrating that the two teams the fans want to see go versus the two teams they don't. Sometimes I think they believe that. Like they believe they want the favorites to lose, and then come Super Bowl time, when you check the ratings, it's considerably down because they don't have a team really to root against. But we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I said every single time many Super Bowl runs, many NHL hockey runs, somebody becomes a mercenary and does the dirty work just to get eliminated the following week. Tell me this doesn't reek of that. This reeks of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who you referenced last week. Best record in the history of the NHL a couple years back, 2019. They got swept in the first round. And guess who made the Stanley Cup because of it? Guess who didn't have to play them in the next round? The Boston Bruins, who had a clear number 2. The Bruins, who got eliminated in 5 by Tampa the previous year, and then got eliminated in 5 the next year. So 2020 and 2018 eliminated in 5 by the Tampa Bay Lightning. You had Columbus become the mercenary, do the dirty work. They go to the Stanley Cup final. The path is laid out for the Eagles. It's going to be the Eagles.
Even the Texans, like Justin Herbert. I mean, I think if you're Mahomes and company, you would much rather face the C.J. Stroud-led Texans than a guy in Justin Herbert who, hasn't been able to get over the hump against Kansas City. But in every single game, it's down to the final possession. Every single game. Maybe you know what I was thinking though? I might have a blind spot on Washington. Maybe it has reached the point where Jaden Daniels is drawing enough attention and enough excitement to where that would be a matchup that would draw a lot of attention. But I can't help but think the whole like Saquon Barkley thing, just dominant, and the Eagles defense and stuff in the rematch sets up a really good storyline. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the whole Jaden Daniels, like the rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl, taking the league by storm. Maybe that actually means more than I'm giving credit, because
somebody with no skin in the game, I could say it does feel like just the feeling is Washington 50 points, rookie card. They're gonna put out great, and it feels like if they played the Bills, it would be a video game. Just that's what it feels like. It probably wouldn't be, but that's kind of what it feels like with the Eagles, especially after last week's game, and even the week before. It seems like it's a lot of running, not a ton of excitement. And yes, you can wait around for Saquon to pop one, but still, the way things are now, that's not overly exciting for a ton of people from the outside looking in. But then again, just when you have a team like Philly, it's almost like Floyd Mayweather. His fights are going to be boring, but it's that buildup, the Philly fans, the Philly environment. You can have every article you want written, every video. It's easy to sell Philly sports in a championship in any sport. So I don't even know. I don't know whether that makes a difference or not. I do know this is going to be a defense that they're going to get theirs. A lot of this comes down to Jalen Hurts, but the same way Mahomes came through with just a destroyed freaking ankle that he was playing on, or was it the high ankle sprain against the Bengals? It wasn't pretty exactly, but he got the win. Yeah. And I think you're going to get the same thing from Philly here.
Yeah, I'd lean Philly in this spot.
That might be if I do plus 3.5 for the Bills with the Eagles to win. You think that will throw me into plus money?
What, with the Eagles money line?
Yeah, it's close.
What's the money line, like 300?
It's right there. Yeah, minus 295.
Oh, okay, yeah. Probably.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's how about this? It's no skin off my back, like I just texted you about yesterday. Somebody said that to me yesterday, and I just texted someone dropped the no skin off my back, and just for old time's sake, what the hell do you think that means? That's no skin off my back.
I don't know. I mean, the answer that I have for it seems pretty inappropriate. Like a lashing or something?
My thought was he would give you the shirt off his back. So if you're getting down to the skin, he'd give you the skin off his back. So one less favor, right? It's not that crazy. I'm not asking for the skin on your back. I'm asking for the shirt on your back. Some sort of watered down version of some sort of relation to he'd give you the shirt off his back.
I would think it's
no skin off my back.
I got you. My guess would be like it insinuates lashings. Like, look, no pain here. Doesn't hurt me to do something like that. It's painless. That would be my guess.
You sound correct. That sounds very correct. Alex, you wanna dig this one up for us? Or let me guess, there is no origin. It came
there never is an origin.
That's why we stopped doing this. That's why we stopped doing it.
Back to 13 BC, and there's We can look it up. Yeah. For what it's worth, if you wanted to grab this one, Eagles minus 278 money line on DraftKings.
Oh, okay.
278 money line there. Let me see if I can find an alt for what did you want Josh Allen at? Or no, wait. You wanted Eagles money line and Bills plus 3.5, right?
Yeah. Yep.
There you go, plus 122. Eagles money line, Bills plus 3.5. I don't hate that. That's fun. That's a fun one.
I don't know if fun's the right word, but you know, it's
Fun.
regular. It's kind of a front page bet. I know you gotta move the spread a little bit. Alex, were you able to find anything on no skin off my back, or it's just
Absolutely nothing. Not a single thing.
it won't even give you anything?
Definitions come up, but no origins, no history behind it, nothing.
You know what, Dave? I'll take that
Hold
over.
on. I mean, I'm on Reddit, but here's one. The phrase "it's no skin off my back" refers to being well, see, these are just opinions.
That's like us. That's us right now. It's no skin off my back.
It originates the idea that something causing discomfort or trouble might involve the skin on one's back. I don't know.
Well, there's no better audience to decide the origin of it than the YouTube commenter. So why don't you guys let us know? Let us know what you think that means. It's no skin off my back. It's going to be no skin off your back to just leave us a comment, because regardless if it's about that, if it's about your opinions, if you're angry that you're not going to see me wearing a donkey costume, well, you know, you got to have a little more trust. But definitely engage with this video, because there's only one left. Show your appreciation for the season. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming back once again. We know there's a lot of people talking about this game. We're happy that you added us to the queue. We will be back with you, I guess, 2 weeks from now to talk about the final game, final episode, Dave and Dan. I hope to see you all there. Very much appreciated. Make sure you're checking out Dave's videos over at Odd Shopper. I obviously have more videos here. Let's do this. Let's have a Philadelphia. Well,
Who do you want the Chiefs, right? I mean, you got futures on them.
I'm willing to piss him away for Josh Allen. I'm willing to make the sacrifice.
Right.
I got myself. Yeah, you know what? I'm rooting for the Bills. And I guess I'm rooting for the Eagles. I don't know. I guess it's the old prick in me. I like people to have roadblocks along the way, and this will be Jaden Daniels' roadblock. All right, guys, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for coming back. Talk to you then.